20-second overview on who we are at HCL. We primarily do two things for our customers. Either help them deliver world-class IT to help them become agile and drive down cost, or really use engineering and R&D services to help them innovate on revenue or create competitive advantage. So I think when the conversation I had with Salim before was around this whole AI issue, correct? Is human versus machine or human and the machines? And that's the big conversation. And most of the time, the rhetoric around AI has been that machines are encroaching on human domains. And this has happened for the last 2,000 years, so nothing is new. Man is a tool-driven animal, correct? We always loved the tools. We always loved ways and means from the time wheel was invented to really use machines to augment the human capability so that we could really focus on a layer above. What's really happening now is, and I think yesterday's talk by Ray and then the AI session, is about there is a point where we're really seeing machine equating human intelligence and then a point in time surpassing human intelligence, which is like, and that's where the singularity moment is all about. But still, in end of the day, it's human who can ideate and create. There is something which humans have, which I think we should enhance and build that capability about ideation and creation. And I think that's where I think the shift is going to move towards is, how do you start to not see this as encroaching, but you start to see this as augmentation. Then this whole rhetoric about how, you see all these articles, correct? And I think Salim pointed out this whole, on his opening session on that day around, hey, everything is about creating fear, correct? And the moment you bring fear, the whole conversation is around, how do I address the fear factor? And then that gets multiplied. But there is another aspect to this. So is this the beginning of the end? I don't think so. I think it is just a shift which is really driving people to start thinking a bit more differently around how do you start leveraging AI. I'll give you some examples of what we're trying to do, but I think I really see there will be jobs which will get replaced. There would be changes in the way people work. We saw a crowdsourcing example today. There are different examples of the way work is going to change, the future of work. But humans have to start really thinking about leveraging the machine and partnering with the machine and really start to augment and move forward. Yeah, so is it an Iron Man or a Skynet? And I think we can take some cues from the science fiction and the movies, correct? I think if you really see, and this my personal belief is, start thinking like Iron Man, correct? Could I use Jarvis? Could I use the suit? Could I augment myself with AI capabilities and really be able to do a larger cause of impacting 1 billion people, correct? Could I, the vision of Iron Man is I could just land up anywhere and save anyone, correct? By leveraging the power of AI. It's the Jarvis who does all the calculations for him, but he's still there taking those decisions. Or you want to be the Skynet view, correct? And I think those, unfortunately, there's been too many movies made around Skynet kind of a scenario, correct? The apocalypse of AI. And I think sometimes movie teaches us to really start to think. It's about fiction trying to give you imagination and vice versa. So I think our view is that how do you humanize this whole thing? So I don't think it's a versus. It's the how do you reimagine the whole relationship between the human and the machine, the smart machines, the AI capability. And the way we really think about this is it's about augmentation. It's about partnership. So I think it's about how do you empower people versus replacing people. The entire conversation has been around AI will replace the human, and then you really start from a negative connotation. I think it's about how do you use empowerment, human empowerment. There are things I don't want to do which I can get a machine to do for me, correct? Google now, each one of us is carrying, if you're using an Android phone, I think the penetration of machine learning on your phone is significant. Sometimes you not even notice it. There was a time when my Android phone started telling me that airport was my home because it saw me going always to the airport at 11 a.m. and 11 o'clock in the night. It thought I'm going to a home, which is the airport, but then I had to go and teach and say, no, that's not the airport. That's the airport. That's not my home. But I think that's where, again, a simple example of augmentation. You teach it, the next time it starts to learn. And I think it's about how do you empower and leverage capabilities. The second is, we executed processes too much, and I think most of the time the knowledge economy, and that's where the whole, it's about the blue collar versus the white collar, correct? Robotics was traditionally focused on how do you automate less complex or repeatable or risk-oriented tasks. But when you really start to look at AI, it's trying to impact the white collar or the knowledge worker economy. But again, if you start to really see the whole 21st century is shifting towards experience. It's the experience economy which is really driving. It's about experience and orchestration, correct? Then there are execution of processes which you could get software, robotics, or machines, or smart machines, or AI-enabled systems to do that work, correct? So it's about, should I be in the business of executing processes, or should I be in the business of improving the experience or custodian of experience? And the third is about what we really call about is, how do you augment each other? So what we've done is, we've taken an approach. We have this concept, very simple way, but there's a very detailed, complex stuff. We took it and applied it to engineering and IT services, and we're taking the same blueprint and helping customers reimagine their businesses. So you take any tasks, end of the day, we're all a combination of tasks, whether it's process, value chains, everything's also all tasks. And if you really start to divide the tasks into 4 zones, we really call, there's a machine zone and a human zone, 2 big zones, and then you really create those 2 augmentation zones. It's about, there are tasks machines are really good at doing, correct? Just let the machine do it. Make the tasks more and more push towards that left. You call the shift left model, correct? So use the shift left with AI. Why don't you use certain aspects or capabilities and move it down and down towards the left and say, hey, machine zone, perfect for doing some work. Then there are tasks which needs machine to be augmented by humans, correct? So it's machine-led, but you still need human input. I'll give a very simple example. We built an AI-based system for running data centers, correct? And in production data center environments, one of the activities, sometimes you need to reboot a server, correct? We've done all those pieces, but we still said, why don't that button be still done by a human, correct? And yeah, machine learning learns, and the pattern becomes over a period of time more and more. Yeah, I will do automated reboot, but in certain environments, you might not want the machine to take the decision on their own. Pretty simple example of how do you augment machines with humans. You could take it at multiple levels. You could have chatbots, correct? Chatbots doing the front-end work, interacting, but the chatbot is not able to solve a problem, offered it to a human SME. So how do you start to look at augmentation? The same thing when you have humans augmented by machines, analytics, visualization, insights. You want humans to leverage all the data which is coming in, start to interpret and make certain decisions which machine would enable, but you could, and there are a lot of activities that are human-centric tasks, ideation, creation, design thinking, creative, even writing code or designing software systems. A lot of them could be automated using code generation tools and a lot of other activities, but there is still a lot of tasks, and you'll keep finding new tasks. And if you see the last 2 days, there are so many examples of how new opportunities and new areas of work getting created. So I think when you start to break the entire business world into these 4 blocks, you start to really imagine a scenario, hey, how do I look at using an augmentation strategy and then create a human-machine partnership? So this is an example of how we use an exponential technology, which is AI and robotics, in a services organization. Very, very counterintuitive. Services company historically was built using people. So use people-centric delivery was the whole theme of building a services organization. We took this whole concept of AI and robotics and started to embed into a services organization and said, hey, how do you use this to change the way you deliver services? And we've been adopting automation, and now automation multiplied by AI over a period of time. And we saw positive results. We have 98% customer retention rate. Our revenue per employee and profitability per employee grew by 100% over the last 4 years. And we've been training about 15% of our workforce now is skilled on exponential tech. It's a continuous journey. We're going to keep doing this. But we are trying to use EXO to reimagine. Yesterday, we had a chat with Salim around how we're using EXO principles to transform the culture of the organization. This is about using exponential tech to really impact the way you deliver services for the organization. It's a journey, correct? We're walking this path. I think there is a positive aspect of AI which always exists. So what are we doing this? So the way we build this within HCL is we have this platform or this whole framework and the platform called Dry Ice. And we really use those 6 attributes and really start to reimagine the business using this. There are sense and act layers, correct? You could have sensors and actors doing certain work, prevention, healing. So it's about how do you create that fusion strategy, correct? There are certain things which sense and act, prevent and heal. Machines do better when you start to really leverage some of those capabilities. Engage and collaborate. Machine plus human does it in a better way. Ideate and create. Primarily human-driven. Visualize and insight. Machine partnership. Orchestrate and choreograph. This is where you spend a lot of time with humans driving the decision-making and then letting the systems do some of the work. So we have this whole concept where we are leveraging the power of exponential to really reimagine a business. So I think there is still significant positive aspect of AI. It's not that it's going to be only seen in a negative counter. And I think if you want to know more about this, you could definitely walk into one of the booths and have a chat with what are we really doing with dry ice within HCL, but how are we really using this in the larger ecosystem. Every company has an MTP, and I think as a 21C or an exponential organization, our MTP in this whole, outsourcing industry has been too much been built around contracts. And the whole business is about how do you do change orders, how do you do nickeling and diming, and how do you make this like a contract-driven business. The entire MTP on which HCL is reinventing itself in the 21st century enterprise, a single massive transformational purpose, is can we imagine relationship beyond the contract? Is that the core theme through which we are driving the whole change in the way services and the IT industry is moving, and that's what our vision around this is. That's what I had to just to give you a perspective on what we are really doing.